to make sure I wasn't hallucinating.
Cutting his
was just like, you're
toenails?
cutting your toenails. Like, this is not a pedicure. Go to a spa.
That is
Not on the plane.
disgusting. Did you publicly shame him? Because I would have.
No, because I think I was in shock, and then I just like pulled all my limbs up on the seat and just like was on my own little island of a chair because I was like, this is horrific. Why is no one saying anything? This man thought nothing of it. He's like, oh, take off, seatbelt signs off. Let's clip my toenails.
Must have been so damn busy in his own personal life that he couldn't possibly take the time to do this before he got on the flight.
Nobody's that busy, and who's sitting on a plane going, hi, I just need to clip my toenails.
Did you think you were being punked? That
Yes.
there might have been like a secret
I did.
camera
Like,
somewhere?
I was kind of looking around initially, and I was like, no, he's not doing that. And then I was like, it was just like this full on experience that then I realized, oh, this is happening. And he's like, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. Mm-mm.
People also that bite their nails on planes.
Oh,
like, I don't need to watch you gnaw on your hand.
And then they spit it out.
Oh, people are sick.
Can't blame him. There's no snacks on planes anymore.
Oh, come on. You get a little dry cookie here and there. You know what I mean?
Better than a dried
they give you the
fingernail.
cookies. They give you a dry pretzel. What more do you want, Courtney? I think you're the bougie one on the show.
Apparently. Not more than that damn Biscoff.
Next one. And this one pains me, ladies. I never thought I would say this out loud. I'm over shopping.
Oh, I am too.
I am over shopping.
I don't have the patience.
Yesterday, I was walking around Soho. I needed to get an outfit. I'm hosting NFL Live next week. So I was like,
no big deal.
No big deal. I'm like, let me get a cute little fit so that I'm looking good, feeling good, right? I think I went into 11 stores.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was not cute.
Yep.
Everything was so expensive.
Yep.
I'm like, this is why people shop online now. You can buy in bulk. It gets delivered to your door. You send it back if it doesn't work. I used to live to shop. Mall culture is a huge part of my upbringing. The fact that I don't like to physically shop anymore is heartbreaking.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Rent your clothes. That's what I do.
Rent them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's super handy. And also too, like, I don't have the patience. And then I just go squirrel. And then I getting something else.
Well, maybe it'd be more fun to shop if I had TJ Watt's bank account. We'll talk about that next.
Oh.
Americans, we can do anything we want, except one thing. We just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing, rev your engines and let freedom ring, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, with Employee Pricing Plus, purchase and get an average of $10,900 below MSRP on 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab 4x4 models. Hurry in. Offer ends July 31st.
If you're a fan, what you'll see in the next minutes, hours, and days to follow may convince you you've gone to sports heaven. And right now, you're standing on the edge of tomorrow. Booyah!
Fill your potatoes? Oh, yes. Fill your eggs and pasta? Hello, creaminess. Philadelphia, a creamy touch of magic.
Anyone who's ever sold a home will tell you it's really hard, and it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. That's why who you work with matters. Together with HomeLight, we take care of every detail, from staging to showing to negotiating to closing. We've helped thousands of people sell faster and for a better price.
Where some saw a pickle, we saw a masterpiece. A Sonic Smasher with Grillo's Pickles and Dilly Ranch, tangy pickle tots, and a Pickle Rita slush with pickle-flavored bubbles. It's called the Big Dill Meal, and it's a work of art.
What if your body didn't have to hurt after being active? Introducing Stogo, the only apparel with adjustable medical-grade support designed to help you overcome injuries, minimize pain, and regain the confidence to get back out there. Engineered with 90 feet of high-strength cables that reinforce the body and control dials that allow you to adjust the support. Stoco is trusted by professionals, world-class athletes, and weekend warriors who all want one thing: more activity and less pain. Learn more at Stoco.com.
Precise designs, subtle curves, curated upgrades, elevated design for thoughtful living. Thuma.
If you read this story, I don't think it's going to be difficult to connect with Joel Embiid 100% forever, because I just think, he describes in his own words why he has difficulty connecting with people. I'm not sure there's ever going to be a perfect relationship between Joel Embiid and his organization. When I think if you're talking about the 76ers, you get down to the bedrock situation. They bet $400 million a year ago on Paul George and Joel Embiid, two players who have a long history of health issues. They bet it on that, and it immediately started blowing up in their face. And a year later, it's continuing to blow up in their face. Paul George has another knee surgery, and Joel Embiid is facing uncertainty to begin another season. There's a lot of things in this that you can't necessarily control. You can control the investment in the wagers, and they made a wager that is right now not working out at all and is impossible to get out of. People may say Joel Embiid would need to leave Philadelphia. Guys, Joel Embiid and Paul George have two of the most 4 or 5 untradeable contracts in the league right now. Forget about it.
This is Unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike. I think you guys said something about this in March, where Evan was toying with the idea that maybe the Steelers would trade TJ Watt. Maybe the San Francisco 49ers would send back Brock Purdy in the process. And I remember thinking at the time, why would the Pittsburgh Steelers ever want to get rid of their star defensive piece? And lo and behold, my take held up. Evan's did not.
I'm not sure Evan's take certainly did not hold up as TJ Watt gets paid. We're going to talk about that in a second, but first tune into baseball action tomorrow as the Mets host the Reds. Presented by Progressive Insurance, coverage begins at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Alongside Courtney Cronin, our CC for CC trade. She's in for Canty today. Victoria Arlen sitting in for Evan Cohen, sitting in his seat today. Does that mean that you have to have a take that's a little sus, a questionable take today?
I don't know. I feel like my Star Wars nerdness was already sus to both of you. So
I think it's fine. I think your figurines are cool. I would have them in your home setup. So when you're doing a live shot
just
from the confines of your living room, they're behind you. I think that's cool. Okay. Michelle and I just don't know the order in which to watch the movies because A, there's too many of them. B, the subject matter is a little confusing if you're not a sci-fi person. I would assume that you throw it in that category. And C, who's got time to watch that many movies?
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you the cliff notes. Don't you worry.
I'm going to use Chat GPT to find out the right order.
No, I'll be your Chat GPT for Star Wars. Okay. I'm more than happy to take you on a journey. But Evan, see, I'm feeling fierce. Thanks, Evan. But yeah, I'm feeling like a Jedi.
You're feeling like a Jedi in Evan Cohen's seat. That's the first time that's ever been said.
Yep.
But Evan, as we heard Courtney describe coming in, was talking about TJ Watt and the Steelers months ago. And if they could not bridge the gap as far as the contract negotiations were concerned, Evan was wondering if this is an opportunity for them to move on from TJ Watt. Well, Courtney was right, because why would you do that? Why would you move on from TJ Watt, especially in a season like this where you're pushing all the chips in and you need to not only get to the playoffs, but win some playoff games if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, those contract talks were at an impasse, but TJ Watt and the Steelers yesterday agreeing to a 3-year extension. It makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Again, he hit that mark earlier in his career. He's turning 31 in October, ladies. He's incredibly productive, and he agrees to a 3-year, $123 million extension with the Steelers. This deal comes with $108 million fully guaranteed and $41 million average per year. Now, that's important because it tops the $40.25 average salary given to Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals and the $40 million that Myles Garrett got earlier this offseason. Courtney, your reaction when you first found out that the Steelers and TJ Watt agreed to this extension?
If you play football and you're listening and you're a kid right now, if you're not playing defensive end or wide receiver, tell your coach that you want to change positions because these are the premier positions that are getting paid in today's NFL landscape. You had mentioned Jamar Chase, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby signed a $35.5 million a year contract earlier this offseason. Danielle Hunter, both of them among the best pass rushers in the NFL. TJ Watt's in a different category. I know he's going to be 31 this season, but he's the most productive pass rusher if you're looking at pressure rate and sacks over the last 5 seasons. 73.5. Nobody has more. The Steelers need him. This is an all-in season. Every move that they've made, from trading for DK Metcalf to trading away George Pickens to getting Aaron Rodgers to trading for Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, everything points to we got to win now. Otherwise, there could be some pretty significant changes in 2026. TJ Watt will be there beyond 2025, and he will be there for 2026 and 2027 until the end of this contract, which is a 3-year deal. You're not a better defense without the guy who's won multiple defensive player of the year honors. I understand that they probably didn't want to fork over this sort of cash for a player that is on the other side of 30. But we have seen many pass rushers, once they hit 30, they ascend even further. You have like 2 primes if you're a pass rusher in your mid to late 20s, and then anywhere from like 31 to 35. He's still going to be productive this year. Still, I say that as like he's going to be even probably more productive than he was a year ago. And I think it's the right move to do this now before training camp.
I mean, he's got 41 million reasons just this year alone to be productive. I think we'd all be pretty productive for that. But I think you mentioned the wins. Yes, Pittsburgh has to win. They have to win a playoff game. They've not won since 2017, right? Like this is a make or break for Tomlin, for the Steelers, to beat that drought, to reignite that flame that we once knew the Steelers could be. They've brought in Metcalf, Rodgers, they've signed Watt. Like they are investing in the fact of, okay, we want to do this and we need to do this now because I'm sorry, you're 0-5 since 2017. The last time you won a playoff game was in 2016 when you defeated the Kansas City Chiefs, which was obviously January 15th in 2017. But it was something where you had such a run and had such a stealth playoff record, and then it's just dropped. Now you're showing your players, you're showing TJ Watt, you're being like, hey, we're investing, we're ready for this. Not only do you have to win throughout the season, you got to win a playoff game. Even just one would be a miracle.
It would be, but you don't make these moves, Victoria, unless you're expecting to go contend for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
The bar is here. Win a playoff game. You can get there, but for the last 5-6 years, you don't do anything in the second week of January. This is a Super Bowl or bust sort of concoction they've got going on in what could be Mike Tomlin's last season if it doesn't work out.
But is it the right formula? They're trying to, as you said, have the right concoction to get to the Super Bowl, or at least get back to contending for Super Bowls in Pittsburgh, because the standard is the standard, as we've heard so many times. But is this the right formula? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers doing it correctly? Let's hear from Brooke Pryor, our ESPN NFL Nation Pittsburgh Steelers reporter, who joined Amber and Ian to talk about the way the Steelers are constructing this team.
Yes, a lot of these names are ones that we've heard before. Aaron Rodgers, obviously a brand name, top-tier quarterback. Same thing with Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith. But these are all guys that you might say that their prime was in the past. Jalen Ramsey is getting older. Jonnu Smith had a couple really good years last year, obviously his best year. But all of these guys are older, and it's the Steelers kind of taking a gamble and saying, gosh, we're getting a really good deal. We're getting a great bargain for some names and things that people recognize that have been really good. But it kind of remains to be seen if they will continue being that good and continue on that trajectory. It's like finding a good deal on the sale rack, and you have to wonder, maybe you're at TJ Maxx and you see a name brand like, wow, is this really good? Or is there actually like a rip in the back and the whole thing's going to unravel? It's definitely a gamble, but it's one that the Steelers felt comfortable taking because, why not? Why not swing for the fences?
Okay, so we know that TJ Watt is not TJ Maxx, it's couture. Okay, with a price tag like that, that's one of one. That's couture. But in taking that discount approach here that Brooke just outlined, all of this comes back to the quarterback, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's what the Steelers have been doing. They've been trying to find that discount quarterback, a veteran quarterback, or someone that's kind of been misplaced, like Justin Fields was with the Bears, and figure it out. Instead of finding that person, drafting and developing, they haven't hit on that.
No.
So now they're taking this big gamble with Aaron Rodgers, who's entering his age 42 season. We've seen the slow decline from his career. He does not look like the 4-time MVP and Super Bowl champion that he once was. And it was not great with the Jets. We know so much of that had to do with the fact that 4 plays into his first season, he tore his Achilles, obviously. But Courtney, it all comes down to Aaron Rodgers. Like locking up TJ Watt, the smart thing to do if you want to contend for Super Bowls. But it's all going to come down to whether or not the quarterback situation can be stabilized there.
Yeah. And they've been trying to find Ben Roethlisberger's replacement since the day he retired after the 2021 season. It hasn't worked in any respect. That's 5 seasons now, or I guess 4, 5 off seasons where they've thrown darts at the wall and nothing stuck. Will Howard is a 6th-round quarterback that they drafted out of Ohio State this past draft. If that works out, great, but it's still a 6th-round QB. There's a gamble if that's even going to pay off, or that's going to be somebody who can stick on this roster. That's why they went after Rodgers. They felt that if you need an immediate upgrade, somebody that is more than just competent, he threw for like nearly 3,900 yards last season. They're expecting to get that at age 41. Will that happen? I don't know. I really don't know. He's healthy, but we haven't seen a quarterback outside of Tom Brady who even he was playing up till age 45. It's a later part of his career, but it's such an unknown because there's not this natural drop off because you don't have a big enough body work, sample size. Body of work to look through here to say, okay, when quarterbacks get to this age, here's where they trail off, like in their 40s. So he's trying to do something that not many others have done and done successfully. So that's why I think it's a gamble. TJ Watt's not a gamble, though. You just locked up your best defensive player that you've had this generation, this iteration of this generation of the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they've had some really good Hall of Famers come through there on the defensive side of the ball. TJ Watt continues on this trajectory. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's probably already there in the eyes of some. So I think that this was the move that you absolutely had to make. That was probably the safest move that you could have made to keep your defense the strength of the team. Like that's what it has been. Even when Russ and Justin Fields last year, after Fields starts a team out 4-2 and Russ comes in, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. They lose all those games at the end of the year. The defense kept them in it. Why? Because you have a guy like TJ Watt coming off the edge. This is a move you had to make to ensure that you can be that successful and build off of that success in 2025.
And I think it does, the Aaron Rodgers thing. I mean, that's a big question mark. We haven't seen MVP Aaron Rodgers since 2021. So it's something where it's a question mark. We saw what happened in New York, injuries aside, and just the noise that was creating and the storm that erupted at the end of last season. And this was also a guy who up until a couple months ago didn't know if he wanted to play anymore. He's also potentially on his last year, supposedly. So we don't know where the check-in and check-out level is for Aaron Rodgers and if he's capable of also having everyone around him be better, because a quarterback, you're essentially the captain of the ship, but you have to show up to OTAs. You have to build that rapport with your team. And we haven't really seen that. And I think that we don't know how they're going to gel together. And also, can they be led by someone like Aaron Rodgers?
There's obviously a lot at stake here for the Steelers, and getting this deal done when you get it done is very advantageous for them because it's not a distraction heading into training camp.
They have a lot of distractions on that roster. Anytime Rodgers opens his mouth, good, bad, and different, there's going to be a headline out of it.
Of course.
That's a distraction.
Of course. Tomlin's
you don't
not
need
about
this
that.
one on top of it. So I agree. I think this was smart for them and the timing to get it done. And now you got to win.
Yeah.
Like you can win the offseason the way that teams have done in the past when we look at their moves and say, oh, well, that's very un-Steelers-like business, but it could work and it will work. Well, the will work part, you're going to get to determine or start determining that week 1 when you play the Jets. And I would, that Jets offensive line is much improved from the last couple of years. Really good test to see if your return on investment is going to start coming to fruition, which I believe it will when that matchup happens.
I can't wait for that game. Little quarterback swap. What do the Jets look like without Aaron Rodgers? What does Justin Fields look like outside of Pittsburgh? That is going to be a very exciting matchup. I can't wait for that. Gosh, I can't believe that we're days away from training camp.
I can't even believe it. Yeah.
It's so
Someone's
crazy.
like, oh, it's mid-July. I was like, is it?
It is.
Yet?
It is mid-July.
Yeah.
Past mid-July.
I'm not here. God, no, it's not. No, it's
It is.
It factually is.
But will we see another deal get done before training camp? Another defensive deal? Because there's still some out there that need to get done. And the Cowboys, how are they feeling this morning now that TJ Watt got paid, knowing that Micah Parsons, he's up next? We're going to talk about that on Unsportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
The NFL on ESPN Radio.
Just playing the position from the neck up, I would have Joe Burrow number one.
Camp to camp, team to team. 48 days until opening night. The countdown continues on ESPN Radio.
Blanket fort. Dinosaur. Dad. Vanilla, milk, cream. The best things in life start with the simplest ingredients. Better starts with Breyers.
Are you still cleaning your floors with a broom and dustpan?
Or down on your hands and knees with paper towels?
Or dragging out your big heavy vacuum?
Forget about it! Georgia Mary Beth back with another incredible invention.
It's the Zippy Sweeper, the rechargeable cordless sweeper that's lightweight and compact, with an advanced triangular design that gets into corners and features 360-degree omnidirectional cleaning.
It cleans any mess on carpets, hard floors, even long baseboards, in any direction.
Watch this. It cleans dirt and dust.
All of her hair.
And his trail of messy little crumbs.
It cleans up wet vegetables.
How about this confetti on the carpet?
How about this broken glass? The secret? Advanced tri-brush technology. There's a separate brush on each side of the unique triangular head. No matter which way you move the triangular cleaning head, the 3 high-speed spinning brushes will sweep every speck from your floor right into the built-in quick-release dirt tray.
Ordinary vacuums can miss messes in corners, but not the Zippy Sweeper. Its triangular head and built-in spinning edge brush pull the dirt out of corners where vacuums miss. With its swiveling head and super low profile design, you can clean under your furniture without moving it.
The Zippy cordless sweeper is 5 times lighter than an average vacuum cleaner, so it's great for cleaning the stairs. Zip into the future with Zippy Sweeper.
Call or go online and get the incredible Zippy Sweeper for just 2 payments of $79.99. But wait, if you call or go online right now, we'll make a payment for you. That's right. Just pay $79.99. And that's not all. Call now and you can get a second Zippy Sweeper for 50% off and free shipping. But you have to call now.
Call 1-800-303-1013.
Flag Championships are back.
This just only gets bigger and better every year.
The next generation of stars are ready to ball out.
Let's go!
So many players, so much talent.
As the game takes center stage for the premier youth flag football event of the summer.
The title on the line in the shadow of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
NFL Flag Championships, presented by Toyota. Live games all weekend on ESPN, ABC, and more Disney networks.
This is Unsportsmanlike.
Micah Parsons got another.
This young kid has fire.
It's like he has a motor. He never gets tired.
He's the best defensive player in the league.
Mahomes under pressure. Parsons knocked it out.
Every quarterback is on the hit list. I want all of them. Be like the Terminator out there.
It's Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. Michelle Smallman, Victoria Arlen, and Courtney Cronin with you. And Unsportsmanlike is presented by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com. In case you missed it, The news yesterday, TJ Watt agreeing to a 3-year, $123 million contract extension with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's $41 million a year. And why is that number significant? Well, it makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. And let's go through some of these deals that we've seen this offseason, ladies. Max Crosby, March 5th. $35.5 million a year. Myles Garrett, March 14th, $40 million a year. Jamar Chase, March 18th, $40.25 million per year. TJ Watt yesterday, what happened? Tops that, $41 million a year. And there's a couple players sitting out there being like, thanks, guys. Thanks for getting these deals done because you just increased what my bank account is going to look like moving forward. And one of those players is obviously Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys. And this has been a conversation point for a couple seasons now about Micah wanting that extension and the conversations between the Cowboys and Parsons and his representation not really getting anywhere. Let's go back to April 1st of this year when Jerry Jones was asked about how these conversations were going as far as the extension was concerned and why it hasn't been done yet.
I don't view it as urgent at all. And, some say, well, using the basis that the earlier you get something done, the cheaper. Well, the earlier you get something done, a lot of times the more mistakes you make. And you might want to see a few more cards play, not just with that particular negotiation, but with the whole team. And so I know I'm kind of being a little defensive here. But the idea that the only success is getting a contract done at an early time is incorrect. And I'd rather pay more and get it right than I had pay less and screw it up.
Courtney, why wouldn't Jerry Jones have a sense of urgency to lock up a 26-year-old player who's incredibly productive and versatile? He's an absolute game wrecker. Why would he think that if he waits longer, he's going to get it right, as if he's going to get any more data points on who Micah Parsons is as a person or a player? You cover the Bears for the NFL. You're entrenched in this every day. Can you explain this to us? Because we don't understand.
It seems nonsensical, but this is the way that they have done business in Dallas. And you don't have to look very far back in history to see that this is the way these deals have played out. Look at CeeDee Lamb last year and the holdout and getting to training camp, and that thing dragged on and on and on. And Dak Prescott gets his contract extension done as he's walking into the stadium for week 1 last year. I don't think it's a smart business strategy. I don't have billions of dollars to my name, but if I did, I sure as hell would be trying to look for a discount on players where I could get one. You could have done this a year ago. It probably would have been in the $38 million range after Nick Bosa got his deal. Honestly, he's probably glad that he waited, because this was the last data point that Micah Parsons and his agents needed to go to the negotiating table and say, we don't want $41 million a year. He's 5 years younger, 6 years younger than, or 5 years younger, because he's 26. TJ Watt's is 31. He's significantly younger, has a significantly longer runway for the Dallas Cowboys to win with him in this defense. This deal is probably going to be $45 million a year on an average annual basis by the time it's all said and done. So Jerry should be looking in the mirror today saying, I need to pick up the phone and make a phone call, because the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to get. And if you don't have Micah Parsons in this defense, which for all intents and purposes, a deal will get done. Jerry's just costing himself more money. But let's say for the idea of just this exercise, you don't have Micah Parsons in this defense. You're not a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
You are not a good defense. This is a Matt Eberflus defense that predicates its pressure off of its 4 down linemen. You need a chess piece like this who can generate pressure off the edge. You can line him up at inside linebacker. You can do all these different things. He's the Myles Garrett of this defense. And that's, I should be crediting him on his own. He is a unicorn, but I just use the Myles Garrett analogy because I know for Jim Schwartz and the Cleveland Browns in that defense, thus why he got paid this offseason. He's a chess piece. You can line him up wherever and know that he's going to be an effective player. It's the same thing in Dallas. It is a detriment to this defense if he's not there.
The math is not mathing, because you're saying we're not in a rush because we don't want to, we want to see how the cards play out with the team. And then at the same time, I'd rather pay more to do it right. What more right has to go right, essentially. Now things are just going to potentially go wrong on their end, where they're paying a lot more for a player. But here's the thing. His 330 quarterback pressures co-led the NFL along with Max Crosby, who of course got paid since Dallas drafted him in 2021. He should be getting paid one way or the other. It's just going to keep going up because he has more than enough, assets on his case to say, hey, this is why he needs to be paid in the $44-45 million range. He also is the first player, this is a fun fact here, since sacks began being tracked in 1982 as an individual stat, with 12 or more sacks in each of his first 4 seasons in the NFL. What more do you want to see, Jerry? And how much more do you want to pay him? Because the longer you wait, the higher the price goes up.
She's Victoria Arlen. I'm Michelle Smallman alongside Courtney Cronin, who is our CC for today. Courtney Cronin, our CC, who is normally sitting here in the studio, Chris Canty, has coined the Dallas Cowboys and their negotiating tactics as a day late and $1 more.
A lot more dollars.
Which is very appropriate based on how they went about the Dak Prescott negotiations, the CeeDee Lamb negotiations, and now, of course, the Micah Parsons negotiations. So we played sound from Jerry Jones back in April trying to defend why he's waiting to sign Micah Parsons. We didn't understand his rationale there. Let's see if Stephen Jones, the Cowboys chief operating officer, can explain it a little bit better. This was back from April 22nd, and this is Stephen Jones defending why they're waiting to sign Micah Parsons.
You look around the league, and most of these players who are getting these very top contracts, it does take time to ultimately get there. And believe me, if we could sign Micah to a number we wanted to sign him to, we'd do it right now. But right now, there's a difference in what we feel like is the right number and what he feels like is the right number.
Well, that right number for him is only going up.
It's
the
going
longer
up.
you wait. So the number that he had back in April has increased by today based on what his peers are getting. And let's hear from Micah Parsons himself. He was on the 6 Feet Under podcast and talked about these contract negotiations and how they've been dragging out.
We obviously want to get done early. We want that relief off our backs, but obviously ownership is always going to make it drag out, make it more complicated than it has to be. Lack of communication in that standpoint. But, I just always say, God has me this far. He ain't done with me yet. So, I just keep working, keep going. And then when it comes, I'm going to be ready. But, it ain't going to be no drop off.
It seems like to me, like they would want to get it done because there's a few other contracts out there that are going to probably say what you're going to end up getting paid.
I would never understand it. We wanted to do the contract last year. They're just kind of like, we want to do Dak and CD, and then you go out there, perform again, and then, you would think like, all right, we'll get it done early. We know there's some guys that's about to get ready to get repaid, like Miles, Max is going. So you would think like, hey, let's get ahead of that. You know what I mean? I just never understand, when guys come into the league and they're consistent and then, they perform well, why they got such an urge, but then there's guys that just have one good year or maybe 2 good years, and it's just like they get it right away. And even now, you got TJ and Max and all these other guys that's getting paid, and you can't want us to take less because you just decided to wait,
Courtney, Micah outlining there that he wanted to get this deal done a year ago. He is making a lot of sense, taking the same approach we are by why wouldn't you want to get this done earlier?
And he tipped his hand last year when he sat down with ESPN's Todd Archer, who covers the Dallas Cowboys. It was an interview that ran on SportsCenter and Sunday NFL Countdown. He talked about where his market was at. And he said something along the lines of, there's not a big difference to me, 30 million, 40 million, somewhere in between. If I'm Jerry Jones and I hear that, I say, okay, you said it. I'm going to bring it in around 30 million. And that was before Nick Bosa ended up getting his big extension last offseason, around $34 million a year. The Cowboys just cost themselves a minimum of $10 or $12 million more from the starting point where they could have got this done last offseason. I know they had a lot of things on the docket, which was the CeeDee Lamb contract extension and Dak Prescott. We heard Micah Parsons acknowledge that. This should have been priority number one when the season ended in January. Find a way to get this done before the draft. Heck, before free agency, there was nothing holding you back. You had all that time to negotiate. The whole idea that deadline spurs action and everything else like that, when this is such an obvious answer, it's not like and trust me, I think Terry McLaurin should get paid. We've been talking about wide receivers, edge rushers, all of these players who, make a significant impact. But the Commanders could say, hey, well, 2 years from now, Jaden Daniels is in year 4. Malik Neighbors probably wants to play with him. He could be a free agent. Maybe he'll come here. There could be other guys from his LSU days that want to go. We don't need to pay you right now. I don't think that's the right play for the Commanders to do it. But for Micah Parsons on on his side of things, like using this analogy, you are not a better team without him. Like, you can't wait. You can't afford to wait. You just hired Brian Schottenheimer. You were 7-10 last season. You claim that a Super Bowl victory is always within reach every single year. Why are you waiting and leaving one of your best players sitting out there wondering, are you guys ever going to come to the table to do business with me? Because the price will only go up every single day that they wait. And hell, if Aiden Hutchinson or Trey Hendrickson gets a deal done in the meantime and Micah Parsons doesn't have his done, back up the Brinks truck. That's going to be even worse.
She's Courtney Cronin, Victoria Arlen, Michelle Smallman. And coming up next is WNBA All-Star Weekend, but we got word that the biggest star in the sport, one of the biggest stars in sports, period, will not be participating. We'll talk about it next on Unsportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Tomorrow on ESPN Radio. The Cincinnati Reds begin a post-All-Star break run in New York City against Juan Soto and the Mets.
Juan Soto has tied this one up.
Coverage begins tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, with first pitch at 4:10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Fill your potatoes? Oh, yes. Fill your eggs and pasta? Hello, creaminess. Philadelphia, a creamy touch of magic.
Get the drink that gets you. That's Sonic.
One of the biggest challenges my clients face is buying and selling a home at the same time. Many of my clients ask me, Tanya, how can I afford to buy my next home, but also make sure my current home sells? That's why who you work with matters. With HomeLight, we're able to help our clients buy and sell at the same time. It's the most game-changing product in real estate today. Together with HomeLight, we've helped clients win the home of their dreams.
How did you all live like this? Blow on it. Wait. Pump it. Come on. There you go. Go for it. Get me through this. Semi-time kind of life. Baby, baby. It's really good.
What's that on that beat?
This is where the greatest city meets the world's greatest. Where the spotlight meets the highlights. And the chills, all the heat. This is where champions meet challengers. Where the looks meet all the feels. And these party vibes
Drinks on me tonight.
meet morning, noon, and night. This is the U.S. Open. What's spectacular for you see.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance. Plus, stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor or 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote. Call now.
Bradley Beal averaging 17 points a game. And by the way, he wasn't, part of the reason his scoring was down, guys, is he wasn't getting the ball. Now, you can argue whether that was a good decision or not, but he had the lowest usage rate of his whole career. He got the ball more as a rookie than he did last year in Phoenix, but that's whatever. But 17 points a game at $15 million a year, you're not thrilled with that. You're paying a guy with max with a no trade clause. Of course you think he's underachieving. 17 points and 50% shooting at $5 million a year?
Yeah.
Now we're having a different conversation. And that's what the Clippers did. The Clippers took Norman Powell, a guy that they really liked, but they did not want to give him a new contract because they want to protect their cap space the next 2 years because they're going to be big game hunting. Perk, you're right again about their age. Absolutely.
Yep.
But they're going to go big game hunting the next 2 years. They didn't want to give Powell the contract, so they took Powell and their mid-level exception, and they turned it into Brook Lopez, John Collins, and Bradley Beal. That is good work. Is it championship work? We'll see, but that is good work by that organization.
Kirk, what you got? We're 2 minutes out from break.
Well, to Harry's point, again, we always talking about one side of the basketball, right? Harry brought up, and I love Harry, but he brought up, on any given night, they have 3 guys that could light you up for 30 points. Well, who the hell they go defend? Right? When you talk about guys and you talk, see, OKC and Indiana, they raise the bar when it comes down to having wing defenders in the NBA. The most important position in the league is the wing guys that could defend at a high level, right? When you look at OKC, when you look at Indiana, you look at a Nembhard, you look at an Aaron Nesmith, those guys defend their behinds off. And we already know what Oklahoma City bringing to the table. Nico Harrison traded Luka because he said that defense win championships, and it do. So again, I'm looking at Bradley Beal, probably going to be the 4th option on this team behind James Harden, Kawhi, and Big Zubac because they go to Zubac heavy on that low block. So it's just not moving the needle for me. I'm sorry.
This is Unsportsmanlike.
Caitlin looks like she's in pain.
I'm not really sure that it's a re-injury as much as a different kind of injury.
There's really no comparison. Like, you can't replace Caitlin Clark if she's not available to go, right?
Alongside Courtney Cronin and Victoria Arlen, I'm Michelle Smallman, and it is Unsportsmanlike here on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. And ESPN and ABC will present exclusive multi-day, multi-platform coverage of the 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend from Indianapolis. On Friday, July 18th, today, ESPN will televise the WNBA Skills Challenge and the WNBA three-point contest. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Saturday, the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game is going to be broadcast live on ABC in prime time for the 3rd consecutive year and will for the first time stream live on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo, and Holly Rowe will call the action for both days. And SportsCenter's 50 States in 50 Days, which has been so fun to follow along with, is going to be in Indy today for an on-site show prior to the WNBA Skills Challenge and the three-point contest. And that's going to be co-hosted by Elle Duncan and Hannah Storm. And as I mentioned, Ryan Rucco is going to be on the call for all of the action for WNBA All-Star Weekend. He joins us now. Ryan, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. And we, of course, have to ask you about the big news that we got involving the biggest star in the W, and that's Caitlin Clark. She's been dealing with injuries for most of this season, the latest being a right groin injury that she suffered on Tuesday. And we got word that she's not going to participate in this weekend's WNBA All-Star events, of course, it being hosted in Indy. And while this is the right decision for her health, how big is her absence going to be from these activities, even though she said she's going to be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's massive. There's no way around that. I mean, it's not just because, she's the biggest star, in the sport. It's also because she was going to be the kind of, the central host of the weekend, right? It's in Indy. Why is it in Indy? It's in Indy because Caitlin Clark plays in Indy. And she was going to do her first ever three-point contest. It's a major bummer. There's no way around that. Caitlin will definitely still be, involved in all of the action. I think you're going to see her take a very active role in coaching. I think there's going to be, about as much entertainment as you could get out of her while not playing. But obviously the number one reason why Caitlin Clark, exploded in popularity is because of the very unique, exciting style of basketball that she plays. And to not get to see that, especially where she was going to be, the key host, it's super disappointing. There's no way around that.
Now, Ryan, no one ever wants to deal with injuries, but before this season, Caitlin Clark had never missed a game in her college or pro career. And dating back to the preseason, she's dealt with 2 left quad injuries, 1 to her left groin, and that's caused her to miss several games. What is your concern level for her overall health and these injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's concerning is she just hasn't been able to get fully healthy, right? Like these soft tissue muscle injuries keep popping up. And, you never know why. Maybe there's, maybe it's just pure bad luck. Maybe there's something about the way the focus of her off season from the training staff was putting on more muscle. Maybe that did something that was different than how she typically trains. Maybe she hasn't been fully healthy any of these times she's come back, and that's why she's been re-injured. Maybe it's how much she has the ball in her hands, the level of physicality that's allowed in the league beyond just how Caitlin's guarded, but just the league in general, and the stress that's put on her. It could be a confluence of all those factors. One thing I do think that's kind of unique to her, or could have played a role, is she had like slightly tweaked her quad before the season started, and in the preseason, Indiana played a game in Iowa, as you guys, probably remember, and it was a return game for Caitlin, and Caitlin played in that game, and she never would have played if it was not in Iowa, but felt a pressure to play because, it was obviously in Iowa because of her. It was a sold-out crowd, amazing experience, and she delivered some incredible moments, but she was not fully healthy yet, and you just wonder if she's kind of been chasing that the whole season. The fact that she kind of felt this pressure to perform in that moment, even though it was preseason, wasn't quite right, and now hasn't been able to get quite right since.
So the team is still called Team Clark, and we know that Caitlin Clark will be in attendance at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. She won't be doing anything on the court, but her presence is going to be felt. The team has her name, and her team has a lot of star power on it. I wanted to get your opinion on Kelsey Mitchell, because what we've seen from her throughout her career, she's always been the best player on teams that aren't very good. But now she's the all-time leading three-point shooter on the Indiana Fever, having a breakout campaign of her own this season. Is she in line potentially for a WNBA All-Star MVP award, Ryan?
She could be. She could be if her coaches, Caitlin being one of them in this case, play her a lot, right? She's an electrifying player. Like, she's just incredibly fast, quick release, can shoot from distance. She's a really exciting player to watch. And yeah, for years, Kelsey was a good scorer, but I don't think people really got to appreciate or focus in on her game that much, because Indiana was mired in a historically long playoff-less drought. But that ended last year. Kelsey's now an all-star for the 3rd straight year. She has a massive impact on winning. And yeah, you know what? If that's your all-star MVP pick, I could see that happening. I don't think that's a bad pick at all.
We're speaking with Ryan Ruocco here on Unsportsmanlike, talking WNBA All-Star Weekend. Coverage gets kicked off on ESPN and ABC. ESPN is going to televise the Skills Challenge and the three-point contest tonight, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Ryan Ruocco, Rebecca Lobo, and Holly Rowe are going to be calling all the action. And Ryan, one of the things that's changing this year are the rules. So the All-Star Game has 4 rule changes: a 4-point shot circle, a 20-second shot clock, no free throws in the first 38 minutes, and live play substitutions. What do you think of these new rules, and are they going to spice this game up a little bit?
I definitely think they add an interesting element. The substitution thing could be really interesting to watch. I love the free throws because it just keeps it moving in a really fun way. The 4-point shot obviously would have been perfect for Caitlin, but I think Sabrina Ionescu is someone to watch, because Sabrina also really shoots from an extended range. The only thing we had a 4-point shot a couple years ago, and let's just say I hope they take a few less 4-pointers in this All-Star game because it was so tempting to everybody that I feel like there was a period of time where people were just chucking it left and right from there. But it's fun. I think it's cool to, have an innovative twist to the All-Star game. And if we get to see a couple of 30-foot bombs because of it, that'll definitely electrify the crowd.
What is also going to be electrifying are the college reunions. I am personally very excited to see Paige Beckers, Fee, Brianna Stewart all on the floor together, setting each other up to score. Is there a better college trio, duo reunion out there at the WNBA All-Star game that you're looking forward to?
Man, that's a good question. I think that is seeing those kind of different generations of UConn stars is pretty awesome. Stewie and Fee had slight overlap, and obviously Paige then was the next generation. And so I think that there is something really cool about that. I'm sure Gino will love that too. That's a good question, though. I wonder if there's another,
Aaliyah Boston, Asia Wilson, Kayla McBride, Skylar Diggins. We've got the South Carolina, Notre Dame. I think
Notre Dame. Well, you had Sonia too. Sonia's a next level, a newer Notre Dame player, and with those other ones, I think Aaliyah and Asia is a really cool one, and they're on the same team as well because obviously they were players of the year. They were central forces for championship teams in college. Asia's obviously now gone on to be one of the greatest players in W history already. You can say that. And Aaliyah is, as good as Aaliyah's been her first 2 years, this year she's taken it up to another level. Just continues to really make amazing strides and why she's been a 3-time All-Star. So I like that one. The Aaliyah Asia, I'd love to see kind of some extended minutes with them on the floor together. I know they're both going to be starting.
All the WNBA All-Star Weekend action live from Indianapolis. Ryan Ruocco, Rebecca Lobo, and Holly Rowe are going to be on the call. Ryan, great stuff. Thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy the festivities in Indy.
All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Well, coming up next, Scottie Scheffler had some interesting and poignant comments about winning in sports. We're going to dive into that. But first, Courtney has this from Grainger on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
As you know, managing maintenance, repair, and operations is never easy, but for the ones who always rise to the challenge, Grainger has your back. From professional-grade products you can count on to fast, dependable delivery, they're there to help you keep things running smoothly. Plus, their technical product specialists are here to help you answer the toughest questions. And because Grainger knows safety is always priority number one, they're committed to being your partner in protecting both your people and your facilities. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
This summer, we're bringing the Sports Center party to the locals.
50 states and 50 days tour.
There we go. That's a base hit up the middle.
Today is ESPN Sports Center Day in Louisville, Kentucky. 50 states, 50 days.
Oh! Maybe it doesn't get any better than that.
This is Sports Center on tour.
This Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has wavy edges.
It's no ordinary square. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has wavy perforations that tear so much better, with more cushiony softness. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
"84 weeks ago, with precisely 2 likes at the Rio Sarah Pascal, posted at McDonald's. Stop pretending like you don't see our snack wrap comments. It hurts. You thought they didn't see your comments? Petitions and posts? The DMs for 9 straight years? Those comments are the reason this exists. Snack wrap is back."
What do you think we're gonna see? Lots of princesses. That thing? Yeah, and there's villains too. Whoa. Tons of rides! And treats. And I heard at night, all the stars come down from the sky and make your dreams come true.
Don't miss Cool Kids Summer with special savings on theme park tickets and now even more magical fun.
There's going to be two of the baddest dudes in the game.
What's understood don't need to be explained. Something nasty is going to happen.
Two future Hall of Famers complete their epic trilogy.
Where the love go? 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go.
Put your front row.
Back, Holloway, let's go!
Dustin Poirier! This is what I do. I live for this.
5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go.
The anticipation is absolutely off the charts.
What a fight.
Many of my clients